And now, the World Situation Report with Kimberly Gogan from the Office of the Guardian. The United Nations General Assembly in New York may have some interesting consequences for the deep state. And sources, life force reaches Earth. Find out what's next. Now here's Kimberly Gogan with the Office of the Guardian. Hey, Kim.
Happy, Wednesday?
Happy Wednesday. I know, the days kind of run together, but how's your schedule, by the way? Are you getting like a little bit more time to yourself? Is that still going good?
I don't know if I'm getting more time to myself, but I'm getting more time to do other things.
So that's good. Other stuff besides destroy the deep state,
Yeah. I'm getting to do more of some things that make me happy, that excite me. Speaking of excitement, we have a new way of doing news. So I'm going to go into more detail because that seemed to have panicked people a little bit. Okay. But I'm getting to do some new things that are more in alignment with care, more in alignment with the future. And we have some exciting news about that stuff too. That's kind of started happening today. Yeah. So I say happy Wednesday, but it's also happy 3 days after the equinox, and some interesting stuff started transpiring overnight. So Let's talk about the regular stuff first. So exciting things that we are doing that make me happy. Okay, so news. Let's talk about why we're changing the news and what's going to be different about it. We've been talking about this now for a couple of weeks. And what we've kind of figured out is that, some of your friends and family that are just kind of waking up and asking questions, everybody kind of comes into this waking up experience differently. It's not the same for everyone. And we tried to figure out different things that people want to know as they're waking up. Mm-hmm. And listening to me in my World Situation Reports might not be your first way to kind of enter into what's going on in the world. And, but we do have other ways of kind of allowing you the option to share some of the videos with your friends and family, depending on where they're at and what they want to know about. Yeah. So here's what we've decided to do interim-wise. So we have a news report that will go out every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And the news is going to be comprised of more in-depth stories to come from Miss Sunny. So that means we're going to talk about if there's a situation going on somewhere in the world or something that's happening in various communities. We're going to get more information about that out to you, meaning the stories are going to be a lot longer. You'll know where it's going on, if it's something new, like a new service, like health services in South Africa or something that's available. You'll know where those people are. Maybe we'll get a chance to talk to those people that are involved or people affected by a certain situation. So they're going to be, Sunny's kind of excited about this, as far as I know.
I am, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's good. We want to get more people involved as well. In fact, just this morning, I posted on the Field Messenger Telegram group because one of the stories that I'm working on for next week requires, or maybe not requires, but I would like to have input from you guys, the people that watch the news, our field messengers, to contribute to these stories. I mean, obviously you can still do field messenger reports, but there's going to be a lot of opportunities for you to do, if I was, we had like a regular news station, we would call this the man on the street, which Kim, we've talked about how mainstream media uses that to convince people of whatever their narrative is. But that's a real thing, to get people's opinion of what's going on or how they feel about an issue or something that's going on, that's happening. And so I just posted a video this morning to get just videos of people recording their opinion on something. So we're going to bring more of that kind of content into the news. We're going to spend more time with stories. we're, like Kim said, we're going to get a little bit more in depth. I mean, give us a little bit of time because this is all new for us. So it's fewer stories, but I think that the stories are going to be a lot more worthwhile. You're going to feel a deeper connection to the story. And hopefully it's going to have, enough information to really make a difference out there as opposed to kind of just skimming the surface. We're kind of giving you highlights right now.
Sure.
Go a little bit deeper, and really explore stuff. And for me, because I've really been thinking about what really is news. And I don't think it's just, the latest event or something going on. News is something that's new, but it could be just new to you. So we're going to talk about topics too that maybe information has been out there for a while, but maybe it's new to you. Maybe that's other content that you can share with somebody else that has never heard about that. Wow, I really didn't know that was an issue. Information's been out there a while, but we're trying to create it in these groups or, these pieces of content so that they're more shareable. So we can, affect more people so we can get the truth out there in different ways. So yes, I am excited.
and whenever possible, we can offer possible solutions. Yeah. Well, this isn't going to be there anymore. This is shutting down, whatever it is. But here are things you can do, these are the different places and different resources that are available. Yes. Call Maria at 555-1212, and you can get the information you need or help that you need just, in this particular area. So I think it's going to be, and sometimes they might be community stories that are very exciting. How did you get started, doing what you're doing? And we have a lot of great ideas from our team, and I'm excited to see those ideas. So that's one change you're going to see. So instead of 12 smaller stories, you're going to start to see, 3 or so in-depth stories from Miss Sunny. Miss Sunny's not going anywhere. I know I said this is going to be our last week of doing reports together and everybody panicked. So no, nobody's going anywhere. It's just that we're going to really get to see Sunny shine with what she does best. So, yes, she can read scripts like nobody, nobody's business and write them and all that kind of stuff. But this is really going to show us, Sunny's journalism skills, how, it's just going to really give you a lot more information, I feel. And news is supposed to be not about, an event necessarily. It's going to be about what it is. What does it mean to the people there? How are the people affected? Here are some solutions and resources in that area. So I'm looking forward to seeing that. Now, the next thing you're going to see in we call it the regular news, is you are going to see more of our field messenger reports. So in between the stories, you'll see more field messenger reports and longer field messenger reports. So what we've been doing is we've been posting a lot of field messenger reports you'll see them in a different section in our news. But technically, when we started this, the news was supposed to be you. It always has been you. We also have developed with our team some more field messenger assistance. So there'll be meetings once a week, if you need help, reporting a story, whatever it is from your community, developing your stories, you'll have a lot more assistance then because we are not doing 30 or 40 stories a week. We're now doing less stories, but with more information, more video proof, more talking to people, more interviews, those kinds of things. So that'll be good. Now, that pretty much is what's going to comprise of our news, except you'll have me. So if there is an event that's going on, a current event in a particular area, then I'll pop in the news. I might be there once, I might be there twice, I might be there 3 times, giving you the backstory on events that your friends and family know about. It's in the news that so-and-so, the Banana Republic, is attacking the North Pole and Santa's upset. Not saying that's happening, but you know what I'm saying. And, then I'll be like, oh, I know all about this place, the Banana Republic and Santa Claus and everything that's going on there. And I can tell you everything. And this is who was involved. Here's the general that started it all. Here's where the information came from. So you'll be getting more in-depth regular news. I call it regular news, but with a little bit of a spin and a backstory to it that doesn't involve all the stuff we talk about in the GIA report. So
yeah,
that will be the news Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So it's going to be interesting. Sometimes we might pop in there and give you a little bit of science. We might pop in there and give you breaking news if there is something. We might be doing coverage of a live event somewhere. I mean, we just don't know what's going to happen, but you'll still get the real news. You'll still get the current events. You'll still get the information that you need. It's just going to be in a little different way. Okay. So also Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, you will have what's called a GIA operational report. You've probably noticed we've been talking a lot more about the Global Intelligence Agency. Now, an intelligence agency is something that everybody's kind of aware of. They know that there's an intelligence agency in pretty much every country. So calling us the Global Intelligence Agency allows for that connection between the weird and wonderful things in the world and how do we know all of this stuff, and something people can sink their teeth into. So as people start watching our regular news and they start seeing backstories, and if they want to take a deep dive into what's really going on, you'll have the GIA report instead of calling it the World Situation Report, and you'll have that 3 days a week just like you do now. So there's not a whole lot of change. It's just going to be the news will come out first, and then we'll have the GIA report a couple hours later, and you can watch both. You can watch some. You can see, you never know where Kim's going to be. It's like, where's Waldo, So,
Wally, if you're in Australia, apparently it's where's Wally.
Where's Wally in Australia? Okay, sorry. So, Wally, Waldo, where's Kim? We'll poke her head in every once in a while. So it'll still be just as informative as it is now, but it's going to be, I think you're going to really like it. And it'll be something that you can share with your friends and family, that are just waking up, and maybe in small doses. The other thing we are going to be doing, which may take us another week or so to do, but we are still going to have our New Earth section, but it's not going to be in the news. We're going to have a New Earth series that is coming out, which will be comprised of about, could be 3, could be 1, could be 2, just depending on how long the interviews are. It shouldn't be any more than, it'll be less than an hour. Every time we come out with those, and that'll be on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays. So you'll be able to hear more from us as we, every day, mostly every day. So you'll see Sunny in there. You'll see some new people. You'll also see other team members like Natalie, and we'll all be doing interviews in different parts of the world, all about various things that are New Earth. So new technologies, it could be new ways of living, it could be information that can affect your health and wellness, it could be anything. But all things New Earth, all things moving forward, all things that are available to you now or in the future, or things that scientists are working on, breaking things, meaning breaking news, new and exciting things. We're not going to have scientists breaking things on New Earth. No, that didn't come out right, did it?
I knew what you meant.
People breaking things. I know that there are days where I could do that show all by myself for 30 or 40 minutes, I can tell you. So we're still going to have all the great components that you love. It's just going to be more in depth. So, whereas our New Earth interviews are maybe 5 minutes, and, maybe they're going to be 10 minutes, maybe they'll be 20 minutes, depending on the subject. Right. Just depends on how long the interviews are going to be. So it's going to really give you more in-depth information about if someone's talking about options for grounding or options for, health and wellness or options, for anything really. You'll get more information. You'll also find out where to find those people, more information about them personally, maybe a short little biography in the beginning so we can get to know these people. So, some of the people you already know, some of the people will be new to you. But we definitely have a lot of interest in our New Earth series, especially from a lot of our vendors. Potential vendors that we have coming in, because honestly, there are things out there that are new that we don't know anything about. I mean, I was having a conversation with an optometrist that was telling me that, did you know that they make blue light glasses now that are prescription? I'm like, no, I didn't know that. Do you know that there's ones that block out UV rays now? No, I didn't know. And so they were telling me about things that I don't really wear regular glasses, but, it'd be nice to maybe have a nice pair of sunglasses or something. I mean, we don't know, but I think it's important to really get information about everyday things that we all face in one way or another, and possible solutions for that. So that's where New Earth comes in, cleaner water, things to filter out fluoride. I mean, all kinds of things we have coming up for you in those series. So stay tuned for that. Okay, so that is pretty much going to be our tentative structure, or framework, I should say, for how the news is going to be put out. So you're not going to be missing global intelligence reports. You're not going to be missing the news. And you're definitely not going to be missing Sunny. And you won't be missing me. Matter of fact, you'll be like, oh, can that Kim lady just go?
You can tell she has more time on her hands.
I know. No, it's not that I have more time on my hands. I pretty much just stopped focusing as much on the day-to-day minutia with those people, and a lot more on source, spending a lot more time, kind of more of like that ebb and flow, where it's a creative process. Yes, there are occasions where I do have to take phone calls. I do have to listen to these people, or I'm watching what they're doing and there's a potential dangerous situation like the cell phones and the kernels and stuff. So I take time out to do that kind of stuff. And it's not always timely, meaning it can happen anytime, day or night, but it's not an everyday, it's not an all day long 15, 18-hour day job focusing on them. It's a lot more of my focus is going on moving forward, because they're at a point right now where they're just kind of running around in a circle, and it's honestly the same thing over and over again. And there's a lot that goes on in this world that we don't hear about, because the news wants to report drama all the time, because people watch drama. They like drama. I'd like to think that we are looking for what's really going on in the world, meaning there are great things that happen in the world all the time. Sure, there are things that happen in this world that are unfortunate, but developing resources so that we can prevent those unfortunate situations is really the key. So that's going to be our new news. Okay, so speaking of unfortunate situations, and it's not ours, so okay. Little bit more about the GIA, and I'm just giving you this clarification because there's a lot of people out there that were with the old GIA, even organizations that were with the old GIA, still claiming that they're global intelligence agency. But they've left some people scratching their heads. So the ones in the know that know about the Global Intelligence Agency know that these are the people that could, at a moment's notice, transfer $1 billion to a country, $10 billion, $100 billion, $1 trillion. And based on the orders and charges. So these people have been around in and around the UN General Assembly and other places in the world, barking out orders like crazy, but without any performance on their side. So it's left some people scratching their heads. Who are these people? They asked, I got a phone call from an attorney, let's just say attorney's office, that does represent a lot of different countries, a lot of politicians, a lot of, they handle sometimes relations between nations and, whether it's in the corporate sector or in the political sector. And they started asking questions like, can I give you a list of the people that have called me and said that they were GIA, and can you confirm whether or not they're GIA? And I said, sure, I can confirm to you, unless their name is Tom Melville, that they're not GIA. Now, the reason why I can say that is because he is the only one that has been authorized at this point to actually come out and say he's Global Intelligence Agency. No one else has been authorized to do that. And if you try to look up Global Intelligence Agency, you will see that it's registered in every country, contrary to the lie that the State Department, for example, told this law firm, which eventually they were able to confirm was a lie. Mm-hmm. So, you're going to have the seventh floor of the State Department lie to you because they are representing people that are pretending to be something they're not. Now, if you would like answers to questions as far as these people are concerned, because there's a lot of people asking this question right now, how will you know if a GIA person is GIA or not? And I'll be like, okay, number one, if their name and identification does not identify them as Thomas Melville, and they tell you they're Global Intelligence Agency, they're not Global Intelligence Agency, because there's no one else except for myself, because I can, as the director, can say to myself, self, I'm authorizing you to do something. And so now, self, we're going to go ahead and put out a Global Intelligence Agency report. So if it's not one of the two of us, then it's a lie. Yeah. Because everybody else is out there doing their thing, and sometimes in different capacities. And that's what these people don't understand, is that we made a decision 10 years ago to change the world. We made a decision 10 years ago because we saw the fall of the fake GIA. We saw the fall of the SSP. We saw the fall of the ultimate global dictator in August of 2016. And that's when everything started to change. Now, moreover, for the last 3 or 4 years, we have been adding multiple agency people. So if you go in and you look up Global Intelligence Agency, you will see a couple of names, and then the rest of it will be Agent X. So unless you do a reverse lookup of a human, meaning you enter their passport number or something like that, then you'll know that that person is with Global Intelligence Agency, if I so choose to release the file. Because what happens is when they enter that information into the computer system, it sends me an alert. Mm-hmm. Now, I will go ahead and make a decision based on the current circumstances, because there'll be an immediate analysis that will happen about John Doe, whoever the agent is, and I will assess whether this is a threat situation, this is a situation where they're going to use that person or not, and then I will decide what kind of file I send out. I may send out a partial file, I may make a confirmation, I may not make a confirmation to you of who this person actually is. Because why? Because this is how a real intelligence agency operates. You protect your people. So unlike other agencies, when people are found out and they're, maybe in another country or something, they leave them for dead. Yeah. They chalk them up as dead. That's not how we do things here. So we're a little bit different in that way. We realize what everybody is getting into, and we run a very tight ship, and we're very good at what we do. Number two, most of our agents, let's just say not all, but some of our agents are trained to access the system in the field in a way that you would never expect. Meaning, if they are in distress, if they are having a problem, if they need a way out, if they need help. There are ways that we can communicate with the system. Doesn't matter where they are, and it doesn't matter what circumstances they could be in. They could be deep into a hole with lead protection from satellites, and I will find them. So, that's the GIA. So we also can access, of course, everything comes back to my desk. So if there is an agreement that's being made, then if we say we're going to send funds to fund X, Y, or Z, then we send them out to your country immediately. Not 2 days from now, not when there's another full moon, a new moon, a solstice, an equinox, or any other weirdo cultish holiday. We do things immediately. We're very effective. And if you fail to perform the function in which you've set out to do, then the money leaves. That's it. We can send out every single currency in the world. Any currency, we control them all. Because my other hat is the office of the currency curator. So I know I can talk from my left hand to my right hand. I can make decisions. I can have a conversation with myself and say, self, do you want to send this particular party X amount of dollars? Why, yes, we do. And then I go ahead and do it. And if you fall flat on your face, like other operatives and other people that have come forward and said they were going to do one thing, lied through their teeth, went and tried to trade it behind my back, all they had to do was ask me, hey, look, we're going to trade these funds. We're going to, we don't need to, pay for it all out of the trust. Not like it matters because we have an infinite source of funds. So, but they, of course, always want to hide it, lock it down, pretend that it didn't exist, try to steal it, hide it under a rock, and try to trade it under the Chicago Mercantile Exchange. It's unnecessary because I will find you. And you never know who is going to rock up into your world when you're dealing with the Global Intelligence Agency. They could look like your best friend that you've known for 30 years, and they're really not. So we're really, really good at what we do, let's just say. Okay, so that's a little clarification on the Global Intelligence Agency. If we commit to doing something, within 20 minutes, you'll have it. And if you are dealing with a person that says they're Global Intelligence Agency and they're telling you to wait to next Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, guarantee you they are not Global Intelligence Agency. They are a bunch of has-beens that used to be Global Intelligence Agency that can't perform and didn't make the cut in the revised version. So that's who those people are. Now, speaking of the United Nations General Assembly. At this moment in time, there are a lot of people there shaking their heads. Now, we know that heads of state are going to start talking, I think it's today, and they will continue talking through the 30th. That is the final day, I believe, of the General Assembly. However, the official assembly began on September 10th, and of course, as we know, the operatives show up 2 weeks ahead of time and do a lot of negotiating. So these operatives have been meeting with a lot of fake Global Intelligence Agency people, a lot of people with the Secret Space Program, SSP, and they have been meeting with a lot of these attorneys that we're talking about, and been meeting with other operatives from all over the world, and they're being told that they should have had money by Monday. They should have had money by, the last full moon, the 17th. They should have had money by this day, by that day. And, they're really starting to sweat because it's now time to give the, I call it a sandwich. So they start out the assembly on TV and they talk about all the wonderful things the United Nations does. Now, if you're in any other country other than America where it is prohibited for the United Nations to act on U.S. soil, then you probably know them as a terrorist organization. And I would agree with you. But they start out their meeting, with the media and fluffy, fluffy, fluff. The Fed puts out, we're going to lower interest rates 0.5 point so everybody feels good about watching the UN and all the wonderful things they're going to do. And then they start going into all that's wrong with the world, always a theme, And then now the last few days, which is what we're going into, they're going to give you all their promises for the year. Every head of state gets up one after the other, and tells you about all the exciting things they're going to do. Except, unfortunately, the actors, known as heads of state, don't have anything nice to say. So that's why in the last 48 hours, they're now calling us. They would like to know more about CARE. They would like to know how we can help. And Mr. Melville, will you please come and attend the United Nations General Assembly? Because he's not that far. He's in New York. Come and sit down with us. Come help us, get out of our mess.
Yeah, exactly.
And the unfortunate part about the get out of our mess game is that I also have this little tiny intelligence agency and some key intelligence and military system that may have gotten some data and back phone calls about that coming from Langley 5. And coming from other people with the Order of the Black Sun, also coming out of Japan and other locations, to where, of course, these are all the people that are promising the money, behind the scenes.
Mm-hmm.
And they would like to be the responsible party for creating the funding.
Oh, responsible party. Oh, okay.
Yes. And so Kim would be under the skirt of Langley 5, or under the skirt of the Japanese Black Dragon, or under the skirt of the Russians, or under the skirt of anybody, the Chinese. But I don't exist. So they're going to say, we funded you, country A. I know what's going on here. And I'm sorry, I will not participate in your ridiculousness. That kind of worked 10 years ago or 12 years ago. It doesn't work anymore. It's not working for me because, see, ever since I got this whole system and, the key intelligence and military system, and now I'm heavily participating in the intelligence game worldwide. I know every move that you're going to make. I know everything you're going to say before you even say it, and I'm not participating. So if you made a promise, then I suggest you figure out a way to solve your own problem.
Yep.
Or you will come out and you will actually call me by name. And if you make one wrong step, there will be severe consequences. And we might even ask for a marker if you're with the Order of the Black Sun this time, because I'm tired of getting stabbed in the back. So that's what's going on at the UN General Assembly at this moment. Not a gosh darn thing. A whole lot of hot air. Okay. So anyway, we'll have more of an update to tell you how that ends on Monday in our regular news. Won't that be exciting? Because that's regular news for people. Everybody knows who the UN is. So I can talk about that in the regular news and talk about more in-depth things in the GIA report. So there's that. Okay, on another note, I have something exciting to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
So around my time last night, it started around 10:30 at night.
Okay.
And what we started noticing was, I don't really know how else to explain it, other than what we call a golden blanket. So it's all of Source's life force coming in very heavily last night. And it started with a little spark over at the Iran-Iraq gate, the one we talk about where it all began. And it started spreading out. So as it started spreading out, the deep state started to realize, the high-ups, this is not your Hillary Clinton people. Some of these people started figuring out what was going on.
Okay.
And there were some old lines that started ringing. Doesn't ring like a phone. It sends me an alert, that there's an incoming transmission. is how it works. And these people, some of them realized that they were addressing me. So last night I got offers of a private jet and a number of other things if I would just stop it or give them control over it.
Stop source? Wait, let me understand. They want you to stop source from the golden blanket.
Yeah, they would like me to stop source. Even if I could. But the whole point is this is what we've been striving for. We've been striving to allow for the full terraforming of Earth, the full changes, the full power of source to, be in direct contact with what we call Gaia, right? Earth.
Yeah.
I hate calling it Earth because Earth is actually a hologram, so it's for something. But anyway, the planet we live on here. And the exciting thing about it was that that wasn't the only call. I also got some threatening calls from people that realized who they were calling. If they can't, they would like to own it. And I don't know, I don't think they really understand what they're trying to own, because as this happens, what it actually does as well is give our golden age system more power, and it wipes out what is left of the other stuff. So this, maybe that's what they wanted to own. I'm not really sure. It wasn't, I don't think that they were clear, because I don't think that they knew what they wanted to own. But in any case, let me kind of explain this to you. So I call it a golden blanket, but it's so much more than that. So for those of you that have been following me for a while, I told you about a vision I had it was probably in 2014. So yeah, about a decade ago, 2014, 2015. And I think you probably remember me talking about this, Sunny, where I told you that the whole earth turns to gold and then it turns to green.
No? I don't know.
Okay. So after I was shown a succession of events that were going to happen. And in the succession of events, the first thing I saw was a war in what we call heaven, a war in heaven, meaning there was a gateway there, which I now know what that is. At the time, I'm looking at this going, oh, well, this can't be good. Those creatures are ugly, but there was a gateway at one point in time that existed that was created by what we call the ultimate black magician, or the Destroyers group, through Source itself, which allowed for it to pass into that small portion of that density. But from there, they only had access from the fifth density on down. So that includes us. They did not have access to those higher densities because those people, or non-people know how to protect themselves. They would like to have had it extend beyond that. So there's a war in what we would call heaven. And this is the first event that happens. We win the war within heaven. And then the next thing that happens is I see myself in the middle of the desert. I know I'm somewhere on the border of Iran, Iraq, because this is before I learned about where the flower of life goes and the mound of gold. And I have a rod. I slam it into the ground 3 times, declare that the planet belongs to. You remember at this time I was captive.
Yeah, girl. I remember parts of this, yes.
Yeah. So I have to, if you want to know the whole story, I'll retell the whole story in the next news, okay? But in this one here, I'm going to go ahead and stop it. But the part, at the end of it, I see 3 treasure chests fall, not kind of in the middle. 3 treasure chests fall into the ground, and there are these smoky, I guess, Tarzakians is what I call them, that were circling around trying to steal it, but they were unable to. So there were 7 coins that went out to the 7 continents, and that began bleeding the gold throughout the entire planet Earth. Well, that is the event that started taking place last night. And what it means by bleeding gold throughout the earth, it means the full 100% unencumbered life force of all that is Source, the Creator, started bleeding through Earth's veins, so to speak, in all that she is. What that means is Earth's 100% unencumbered, we do this, we do that, they do that to her, is beginning. So this is a really positive thing. And this occurred 3 days after the equinox. So the alignment started happening. It takes time for things to start to flow. We no longer have anything that's interfering with Source itself, not to say we don't with us, with Source itself, and the changes that Source is going to begin to make. So by the time I started this broadcast, I would say that it was somewhere around 80 some odd % complete. So it would start where sunrise. Yeah. It was pretty much an overnight thing. It was interesting. So the next thing that should happen is we should start seeing a terraforming and more changes within Earth. So those changes have been taking place for a few weeks now as Source works his magic. But now was the time where I guess you would say he takes the reins. Mm-hmm. And the rains, R-E. Yeah. So this started happening last night. I don't have any more information on it other than that. He kind of explained to me what it is and what it does, because it kind of caught me off guard. It's not like anybody told, asked me on my permission. But apparently the deep state thought that, to some degree, this has been something that has been an effort for the last 2 weeks. So it's not a total surprise that it happened. I'm grateful and thankful, because essentially this is the part where the oil is spilled, because it looks almost oil-like to me, but with that life force sparkles in it, like the ones you see in the sky. Yeah. And so that's what it's like a plasma, gold plasma. So I think this is going to be the beginning of something very special for Earth and very special for humanity. So I think we're going to start to see, and this is what I was talking about a couple weeks ago. I just never, when you're in the time of no time, it's hard to say, okay, well, it's going to be 3 days and this will be done. Mm-hmm. I've kind of learned that a little bit. And this is where that human side of me says, well, okay, time, chop, 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 chop. We got things to do. I'm sick and tired of hearing this. Like, come on, And I've seen comments like that too in our threads. And I appreciate what you're saying more than you know. And I hear your frustration. I too am very frustrated sometimes. And that's the humanness in me, But I also know that changes happen exactly at the right time. And I was surprised by this one last night. I'm like, why are these people calling, this line that hasn't been used in a long time? So it's interesting.
Why were they calling on that particular line? Was it a different group of people?
Well, I think they were trying to reach a different being.
Oh, and then they got you.
Yeah.
She has every phone number.
I know. I'm glad you called, but I'm not home. Remember those cheesy little things from the 1980s? I'm glad you called, but I'm not home.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway, it's just me. But then they proceeded to offer me all kinds of cool stuff. I've never...
It's so frustrating to me that they just try to own everything. They see something that they think can be used that would make them more powerful, and their first thought is to own it. Like, I don't resonate with that at all. I know that's their whole thing, but it's just so deep state of them to say something like that.
You know, their first thought is, this is for us.
Yeah.
Everything is for us.
Yeah.
Everything that happens in this world happens for us. The sun rises and sets on their backside, of course, and only when they say, so that's the attitude that they come in. That's the first thought.
Yeah.
The second thought is, well, gee, if this was for us, then we should be able to control it. Oh, there must be a typing error. Let me call the hotline and see who answers the phone, which being answers the phone. And I'm going to call and complain,
right.
that I'm sorry, you must have forgotten to give us access because everything happens for us.
Not anymore.
No, not anymore. No. You remember that phone call you made to me about 2 years ago where you said you wanted to go it alone? And I said, okay.
Yeah, I meant it. Go ahead.
We built a strong intelligence agency. We have built new systems outside old systems. We have torn down matrices and holograms and all kinds of stuff that have happened in the last couple of years. And you know what? People are seeing a difference. I got a call from a friend of mine that lives in an area, northern U.S., let's call it northern U.S. Mm-hmm. And in this particular area, they are going into the fall season, and things are, leaves are falling off the trees and that kind of thing. But in this random area, all the lilac bushes are blooming, which is completely and totally unusual.
Yeah, that would be more like a spring thing, probably.
Yes.
Huh.
They're going through a second bloom.
Oh, interesting.
And she was like, well, I can't explain it. Can you explain it? I'm like, nope. We're seeing deserts. There are reports out there that part of the Sahara Desert can be seen from satellites, and it's turning green. We've seen a lot of rainfall, which has caused some problems, but, we're seeing things pop up in the Middle East and, that have not been there before. We are seeing earth changes, and I can't wait to see her get her full new shoes and see what happens next. I mean, we may be shocked with what happens next. So
yeah, because you're talking about terraforming, and my first thought was not only changing the land, but new land showing up. Mm-hmm. And I got really excited. I was like, because so much of our planet is water now, and maybe there's a reason for that. I'm not sure, but
somewhat, yes.
The idea of having more land, that's really cool. That's really cool.
Yeah, maybe there is. I mean, we don't know. There are old maps and old things out there that show the world looking a different way. And they show all the continents together, and they show, less separation and that kind of thing. And, there are geophysical reasons. There are reasons for the amount of water we have on the planet. And part of the reason for that is because of our atmosphere. And our atmosphere has changed in the way that moisture, because we need that as humans.
Yeah.
I know I was so sad, Sonny. I had to turn my heat on, and I dread it every year because I'm like, oh, here comes the insanely, just dry
feeling,
liter of water in the middle of the night drinking time of the year. Here we go. But, I got a humidifier and it's okay. But but we would just, as humans, we need that moisture in the air. Plants need that moisture in the air. Technically, before, a long time ago, we had the right amount of moisture in the air, in the atmosphere, and it didn't really require heavy rains or the kind of weather we see these days. It wasn't like that. Those are things that take time. So we'll see. There has to be a balance between the amount of water and moisture that goes into the atmosphere and comes out of the atmosphere and relocated to other places because, war after war after war here, and there's been many, over millions of years, we have seen a lot of devastation. Earth has seen a lot of devastation. So hopefully, we'll see what Source has planned. I mean, I wish, I I only learn things when I'm supposed to know them. I don't learn them an hour beforehand. I don't learn them too late. I learn them right on time every single time. And then I report, as it relates to the big positive changes that are happening on the planet. As it relates to, the deep state and whatever's left of black magic workers and all these crazy people out there. That's easy to report because that's a happening. That's a now event. That's an event that has crossed through the etherical plane, so I can see it formulating in someone's thought process on the emotional plane now. And I know where they're going to be next week. I can tell you. You want to know where they're going to be next week?
Sure.
Well, there's a new moon coming up soon, everyone. Well, there's a full moon coming up really soon. Oh, by the way, the solstice is in December, and there's an alignment with 3 planets coming up in November, and that's going to make everything happen. That's where they're going to be. And you know where they're going to be 20 years from now?
Same place.
There's a full moon, and there's a new moon, and there's an alignment with Uranus, and, all the spring equinox is coming, and,
That's their world. Yeah.
Yeah. We all need to stand there with 2 crystals in our hands at the appropriate location next Tuesday, because that will help us get control of this planet.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. That's where they're going to be. But us, that is not the case. So
the question about the source blanket, the golden blanket that we have now, how, and I know this stuff hasn't happened before, so we're somewhat guessing, but how will that impact humanity? Obviously, we'll be impacted by things that happen in our environment or to the planet, but do you have any idea? I mean, and I'm asking this because last night I had a really crazy day yesterday, and it was late, like it was like 10 o'clock or something last night, and I felt so rejuvenated. And I'm going, I should be going to bed. Like, I felt like I could have run around and done flips if I could do flips. I had all this energy, and I was like, I should be dog tired right now. So tired, just limping to bed. And now I'm kind of wondering if there was a connection there, and if we can expect more of that.
I think so too, because funny enough, I had gotten up really early. I had not slept for 2 days in a row. I was so tired. I had one of those nights where it was just like everything was going on the night before last. And you know what? Everything was going on last night too, but it didn't, I fell asleep maybe for like an hour. I was watching a movie, in my room, and I fell asleep maybe for about an hour, and then by 10:30 I was up again. But it wasn't like an abrupt thing. It was almost like a, hey, you may want to see this, and then the phone started ringing, not the phone, but the lines, they started ringing and that kind of thing. And that went on for off and on for about 4 or 5 hours last night. But I really didn't feel bad. Now, to be fair, I'll tell you on my side of it, I got these grounding sheets. Everybody talks about grounding sheets. So I started trying one of those last night. Someone had given me one for my birthday, and I was like, oh, after the 2 nights before, I'm like, I'm getting the sheets. I got the oils out here. I got the cream, the magnesium cream for my feet. I've set the tone. I'm like, I just need one night of sleep, and it didn't happen, but completely. But I actually didn't mind.
Yeah.
So, Sunny, it could be a combination of both. But the one thing I am interested in trying over the next couple of days is, this grounds you into the earth. So maybe they worked on turbo for me like last night because of the new things that are happening. But, I'm really interested to kind of like go take a walk and, barefoot and see what a difference that makes. I mean,
oh yeah.
Yeah. It's gonna be interesting to feel that different energy,
So you said what, we're at 80 or so percent?
Yeah, and it's kind of gone from that area. It came out kind of in an elliptical shape. So it kind of expanded out through like to China and then to into the Atlantic Ocean. And then it kind of started going up and over the poles.
Okay.
Coming from that side of the world. And then kind of started closing in on the U.S., Asia Pacific, because like areas like Hawaii before you cross the date line, because it started where it started and how it seems to be moving goes in I guess it would be coordinated with both dawn and dusk, because those are the times when source is most present. Okay. So it was either dusk over there in, say, Australia area, China area at that time, or dawn starting over here in the U.S. And then it just started kind of going all around. As far as I know, there are still areas of the U.S. where it hasn't reached yet, and also areas of Latin America where it hasn't reached yet, at least at the time of this recording. So we'll see. We'll see how long it takes. We'll see what happens next. If it happens like the vision, then the world is supposed to turn green,
Wow.
in a good way, not in like here's a demon way, like in a good way.
Yeah, the deep state's going to take that and be like, green money. We're supposed to get money.
Yeah. No. And if that's the case, it won't be for them. It'll be for, people with some different kind of intentions. And, I don't know. I wish them all the luck in the world. I really do, Good luck. So it's going to be interesting to see what these proposals are that may or may not be coming forward. Will they figure out that? Will they figure out that they need to start changing, do something different? Probably not. They're probably going to try to figure out a way to take credit for everything and keep it rolling, for a while longer. But
it seems to be their plan, is just to try to take ownership of something or pretend you do have ownership of it.
Yeah.
Try to convince other people. But it's so ridiculous because they can't control it. Like, it's so easy to disprove. It's just not, something's wrong. Something's wrong up there.
Yep, I know. God bless them. God bless those people. But, I know they've already tried, like, using our clearance, using GIA clearance. Tom's the only one they can actually identify with that actually talks to me, that actually is GIA. So they call him a lot, trying to get him to show up places. Look, the GIA is here. I told you we were GIA. We're GIA too, aren't we? Yeah, no. Well, we'll see how this interesting gift, which I've kind of known about for some time. We also in the past have had the opposite happen, where we would have had a blanket of anti-source a long time ago. And it had a connection to an SSP base under the Aegean Sea. So, and then they would kind of circulate it throughout the earth. That was kind of like the circulation center for them. So hopefully now it's not in their control. They would like to, but that's not going to happen. And we'll see what happens over the next 24 hours. I think it's going to be interesting. I think Friday's news is going to be interesting because, I'm glad you're going to be here for that one, Sunny.
I know. Gosh, things are ramping up, and then you're going to be doing your own thing. I'm going to be like everybody else. Watch Kim's video. When's Kim's video coming up?
refresh.
Exactly.
Oh, come on.
That's okay.
I know. I'm really looking forward to watching your news too.
Yeah. Good changes. Good stuff coming up. We're excited. Whole team's excited.
It is. So I'm looking forward to seeing everybody shine. Our full field messenger reports, not shorter ones.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's going to be great for all of you. Be great for our field messengers. Now you all know. So, we look forward to seeing those reports. We'll see, Everybody will, depends, but most people, if it's if the video's good and all that kind of stuff, and you'll have help with that. Will be shown in the news now. It's not going to be kind of like a la carte all the time. So we'll see.
Yep, and a lot more opportunities for you guys to get involved in the news and participate. Field messenger reports. I'll be doing more shout outs. Hey, we're, looking for people to talk about this, or hey, can you record a video about this? Share your experience about this. Mm-hmm. So, because you're the face of news.
Speaking of sharing my experience, I know about a report you're doing on Monday that talks about a certain alleged scientist.
A very popular alleged scientist.
A very popular alleged scientist that allegedly made these Cybertrucks.
Yes.
So I'm not going to spoil the whole story for next week, but it was hilarious that you had texted me asking about information about this. Uh-huh. So I'm like, well, I'm out and about. I'm running a couple of errands. And I'll be right back. So I'm out and about, and what pulls up behind me?
Cybertruck.
The same color as the one in the picture you sent me. Uh-huh. It didn't have the giant, weapon on the back, but
right.
At least not exposed that I know of. This is wild, wild west over here in Durango, Colorado, but the same truck.
That's so funny. In Durango,
same color,
town like that. You had is that not a common? See, I see them in San Diego a lot, but that's probably not common.
I have not seen one yet.
Oh, and it happened right. See, synchronicity.
I know. It must be a good story.
Yeah.
So you see those Cybertrucks running all around San Diego?
I mean, it's not all around, but I've seen maybe 10 of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, this is old hat for you. I thought I was reporting something exciting. Matter of fact, I grabbed my cell phone, but it was following me. It was behind me. So I'm like, oh, crap. I'm like, I have dark tinted windows in the back, so I can't go that route. So I'd have to stick my arm out the window and, kind of try to catch a video. I was going to be a good field messenger for you and get some videos.
Oh, trust me, there's plenty of video of Cybertrucks everywhere.
Oh, really?
We're trying to promote that, and
this was tan with the same color window. It was the same exact vehicle.
That's funny.
None of them have the big artillery on the back like that other particular one.
Yeah.
No?
Yeah.
You don't? Okay.
No.
Well, you are near a military base, so you never know.
You never know. No, I haven't seen anything like that. I think they're all consumer. Yeah, for the people.
Oh, okay.
That's like the latest and greatest. It's like everyone's got to have whatever tech gadget there is, right?
I know.
This is just a very big statement. Looks uncomfortable to me. I don't know. That's just, I don't know. That's just me personally, but some people like to make a statement that way.
And a statement. It's a statement for sure.
It is.
Yes. I am driving a vehicle.
A tank, pretty much.
I know. And it puts the Hummer to shame. You remember the Hummer days when everybody had a Hummer? Yeah. Especially like in your area. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, now there's a new one in town.
Yeah.
But it has some interesting little features you may not want. So.
Right. Exactly. That's what the story's about.
Yeah. So we'll see.
Okay. Yes, we will.
So hopefully we'll have some more information about this new incoming situation on Friday.
All right. Sounds good. Well, I look forward to Friday. Thank you, Kim.
Me too.
Friday.